Hello, welcome to Steve's Vintage Model Builds. Thanks for joining me. Been a little bit AWOL. Viewers might know, and my buddies know. We've been traveling in the Philippines and just returned very early this morning from Japan. And we were there for a week. We arrived in the Philippines November 27th, and we're going back to Canada on December 30th. And we're flying back to Vancouver, and we booked a hotel there for the night, and then we're going to fly out to our home in Vancouver Island, or on Vancouver Island, on the 31st. So we'll be home in time for New Year's to watch the New York City ball drop at 9 p.m. and then go to sleep if we're not already sleeping by then. That's life when you're old. Anyways, the trip's going great. We're having a wonderful time. My wife especially, who's Filipino, her twin sister came from California, and we're with her sister, her other sister here, and her brother. We're staying at her brother's house, and her sister's family. So it's been a great visit and a real tonic for Esther. Filipinos are very extremely social people and very family oriented, and while we have a good life in Canada, she enjoys her life in Canada. We have friends, regular friends, and Filipino friends, and so on and so forth. But there's nothing like being together with family, and this is particularly great for her because she came to Canada by herself as an independent immigrant in 1998. And while she and we have been back to the Philippines many times, she's never been back for Christmas. And Christmas is a really magical time here, and it's very important. Of course, they're devout Roman Catholics, um, which it's not my thing, but they're very sincere in their faith, and um, they're very good people. They're not judgmental. They don't push anything on anybody. They practice their faith sincerely and passionately. So you can't really fault anybody for that. So Christmas is a huge time here, as well as New Year, and so unfortunately we won't be here for New Year, but we'll be here for Christmas, and we've seen and got to know our first grandnephew. Um, his papa and mother, Richard and Rizalyn. Richard is he's a huge Gundam Bandai fan, and I picked him up a really nice kit that he was really pleased with. But I'll talk about that more later. And also, he's a huge car fan, and he has good taste. So, our little grandnephew, who just turned 2 on December 8th, his name, first of all, the family name is Martin, Martin, and this is their first child, and his name, and he was christened Royce Aston Martin. Yeah, so high quality there. He's a great kid, 2 years old, so he's just finding his legs, and mommy and grandma and everybody are doing their best to keep up to him. Easily exhausted. But anyways, he's a real joy. He's a good kid, smart, really smart, and so yeah, that's been fabulous to meet him for the first time. Um, I've done some shorts, short videos that I've posted. I've also posted some stuff on my Facebook. If people want to go there, it's Steve Keffer, Keffer, on Facebook. And I posted some photos and so on and so forth. To be honest, I've been having such a great time, making and editing YouTube videos has not been a real high priority. and although I do have some stuff that I'm going to put together once we get home for a complete review of the entire trip. But today, and again, I've been busy having too much fun. Lots of things going on in the Middle East. I will probably within the next few days be making a video on that. And of course, a lot is expected to change when President-elect Donald Trump assumes office on at noon on January 20th. And finally, serious people will be in charge. Excuse me. Although I did see a thing today that what was it? The Canadian press put out that President Biden and Dr. Jill, who should really be referred to as Nurse Jill, but anyways, they lit up a children's ward at one of the hospitals they visited, which is very nice. But it occurred to me that I wondered who was visiting whom. Maybe Joe was already there. Who knows? Anyways, enough of that. He'll be gone soon, and he's been totally AWOL when they're going through this government funding crisis, which they seem to have at least temporarily resolved to keep things going. And but no, he hasn't. He's never had any idea how to flex and how to operate the levers of power, as we say. Obama was very good at that. Unfortunately, he didn't do that. He didn't manipulate those levers of power to the benefit of the United States. But anyways, enough of that. Okay, happy times. It's Christmas, yay! And Hanukkah coming up too, which this year actually happens to start on December 25th. So for all our Jewish friends and neighbors and fellow human beings, happy Hanukkah to all. And difficult times in a lot of ways, but they're resilient people, and they really appreciate support and encouragement that they get from outside the Jewish community. So, I'm going to talk about the Japan trip, which was the trip itself, or the visit to Japan itself, was awesome. Absolutely awesome. If you've never been to Japan and possibly thinking about taking a trip there, do it. All right, I'll go through all the details and everything, but it's just fabulous. The only time I had been there before was once or twice when I actually just had to change flights at the airport, so you never get to see anything. Except in the taxi to your hotel and back or whatever. But yeah, excuse me. So I'll start by talking about the trip itself, and and also give some travel tips. Many of the people who watch the channel, I'm sure they have a lot of experience in traveling and so on and so forth. But for those who haven't, they may find some of these things helpful. So, to start with the trip itself, or the visit to Japan itself, I'm not calling it a trip because the rant is about the airline, and so it didn't ruin our trip, but yeah, in my mind I have siloed it out between the totally awesome trip and the totally horrific airline that we took. So if you want to advance forward to the rant, that's fine, but I think you might find this kind of fun. People who've been to Japan will know most of this stuff, but if you haven't, I think you'll find it quite interesting. So to start off, I'm going to talk about the culture and Japanese society. we were in two big cities. We were in Tokyo just for a night, um, and then we went on to Shizuoka, the model kit manufacturer capital of Japan and probably the world. And but everywhere we went, it was clean. It was absolutely, everything was clean. The streets were clean, the sidewalks were clean. It was just great. The people were polite and courteous, and they went out of their way to help everywhere. Um, Even if they didn't really speak English very well or hardly at all, you manage, you get along. It's and then there's the Google Translate thing, and I had also brought a pocket translator, which both were very useful. The pocket translator is good because you don't have to burn down your phone battery using it. You can use the pocket translator instead, and you can also pre-record stuff ahead of time and then just refer back to it for things like where's the restroom and how do I get to the train station, all those kind of things. So little things like that. Speaking of how to get to the train station, when we arrived in Tokyo, the hotel that I booked was quite close. It was within 200 meters, but hey, I still managed to get lost. Tip number one, okay, don't rely on Google Maps. Okay, they will mess you every time. If you're in the car, they'll drive you off a cliff or down a road where you won't be able to get out of it. No, okay. I'm not a Luddite, but yeah, I mean, I grew up, I was a scout. Map and compass. Don't need the compass, although you can use that on Google. In any case, so anyways, we still got lost. And we stopped a young man, um, nicely dressed, blue jacket and pants, white shirt, black tie, long, regular black tie, patent leather shoes, which seems to be de rigueur for Japanese businessmen. Anyways, he was a nice young man, and we asked if he spoke English, and he said yes, a little bit, which is usually the answer you'll get from most people, and it's a question of degree. So anyways, we asked for our hotel, which was Hotel Karaksa, Karaksa, Hotel Karaksa. And usually in Japan, usually hotel comes first. So it's not Karaksa Hotel, it's Hotel Karaksa. And when we got to Shizuoka, it was Hotel Associa. So yeah, just one little thing there. So we asked him if he knew where it was, and he didn't. But I had my phone with my map, and he asked if he could have the phone. And so I gave him the phone. And excuse me, this was right outside Tokyo Station, which I'll talk about in a couple minutes. Anyways, so he looked it up, and he kind of at first, and then okay, and so then he hands me the phone back, and he says, "I will take you there." And he did. He walked us to the hotel. I mean, it was only a couple hundred meters, but this was at like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. He was probably off work and heading home or whatever. Unbelievable. I mean, it was just great. And that wasn't that was the first time, but it wasn't the only time that people actually guided us to where we wanted to go. One time in Shizuoka Station, there's a huge mall on either side, and it's called Parche, and they have everything, and there's all sorts of restaurants in they call it the Asti, A-S-T-Y, and it's, as I said, it's in two sections on either side of the station. And we were at McDonald's, but we were on the go, and I was just grabbing some breakfast, and but I'd seen this omelet place when we were wandering around previously, and we'll talk about the Japanese omelets too in a minute. But anyways, when I went back to try and find it, I couldn't. Bit of a rabbit warren, but all very nice, very lovely mall, beautiful, and the department store, Parche, was on the level of Harrods or Saks Fifth Avenue or Stainbridge's, whatever, high-end department store. And excuse me. And the lady at McDonald's, I just asked her, I said, do you know, I know there's an omelet place close here that I'd like to go to tomorrow. Do you know where it is? Again, she turns around, she talks to her supervisor. Next thing you know, she comes out behind the counter and she's like, come with me, come with me. And she walked me around to where the restaurant was. Again, it was only like 20 meters, 25 meters or whatever. And the reason I couldn't find it again was it was still closed at that point of the morning. They don't open till 11. So there was no signage outside, and the name of the restaurant it was all in Japanese. So anyway, so she showed me, and then we went back, and so that was very, very, very good of her, very kind. And like again, that was that wasn't the only time people were like that. Everyone is very polite. There's a lot of bowing. There's a lot of bowing, as you would expect. And as for bowing, it's all a question of degrees. It can be something, just the nod of the head. If it's a very, very small thing, like if you let someone go ahead of you, they will bow. And so, but the more appreciative you are, the lower you bow. It's and if you and the most is like when you bow down like this, and you don't have to keep your eyes up. You lower your eyes. It's not like karate. That's the way you hold your arms at your side, and you bow down, and whether it's this much or that much, like I say, it depends on how appreciative you are and how much they've done for you, and so on and so forth. And so a lot of bowing, and we learned, and it's an easy habit to get into, but not as easy to break. I tell you. But anyways, everyone was really polite. Everybody was helpful. People were cheerful and nice, not just at the hotels, which you would expect. It's a very orderly society as well, and people are expected to walk here or walk there, and not do this and not do that, and so. About travel in general, I've always been. I learned very early on, and also I was instructed very early on at a time in a certain role that I was playing, was that when you go to a foreign country, you're a guest, and you should behave as a guest behaves. You should respect the culture, do the best you can to follow it, and do your best not to screw up. And the other thing is too, on the other side of it, is that you're an ambassador for your own country, and the way you behave and the way you act, and is not only a reflection on yourself, but a reflection on the nation you are in effect representing, whether it's official or not. So those are good rules to live by. We hear all these stories you see on YouTube and stuff. I mean, people just, they go to a foreign country and they just treat it like crap. Pardon my language. They, I'm not going to mention any particular countries, but yeah, a lot of, actually two of them start with A, so I'll let you guess. Um, so yeah, and that, to me, that's absolutely disgraceful. And if I'm in a foreign country and I see a foreigner behaving badly, I'll speak up. I'll say, hey man, you know, that's not cool. Can't do that. And but you know, like my dad taught me, the world is full of jerks. Do your best not to be one. Yeah. So enough of that. The other thing, there is no tipping. No tipping in Japan. There's no tipping culture whatsoever. And if you try to give someone money, they will either be confused as to why, or maybe even upset, thinking you're expecting something else from them, especially if it's a female. So you want to avoid that. Now, I did learn that you know, it's always been our practice when we travel, whether it's in Canada or in a foreign country, to you know, leave a little something for the housekeeping. Um, you know, the housekeeping people, they work hard. In many cases, it's a thankless job, and everywhere we've been, anyways, they've been just great. So you know, it's always been, you know, depending, you know, for, you know, if it's a one night stay, a few bucks. If it's a week or something, a little bit more. Uh, just like you do on cruises for people who take cruises. You know, you leave a tip for your cabin steward, the person who's responsible for you. But what you can do, excuse me, what you can do is leave a small gift. Um, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Um, when we before we checked out of our hotel in Shizuoka, we went to one of the shops, and they had these fancy Belgian waffle things, chocolate and different flavors. Green tea is huge there, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. Anyways, yeah, and they're all packaged individually and in a nice box, a gift wrap box, and all that kind of thing. So anyway, so we left that for the cleaning staff, and actually when we were about to leave, we ran into one of the one of the ladies, and we told her that you know, I put a note on it, but like I say, they might not know, they might not understand what that's for. So, anyways, you know, thank you very much, domo arigato. And also in Filipino, there's a lot of Filipinos who work in Japan, which is Miramang Salamat po, which is, you know, thank you very much. Yeah. And so we let her know that we had left it, and to share it with her workmates. And oh, she was just so appreciative, and oh wow, there was, you know, the bowing went on for a couple of minutes. She bowed to us, we bowed to her. Thank you, tomo tomo, all that stuff. So, but you know, things like that, really make a person's day, because in many cases it is a thankless job, and they're not paid a lot of money, and it wasn't an expensive gift, you know, and so, you know, what does it cost you? You make someone's day, make them happy. So, about tea. There is no black tea. I looked everywhere. I asked at every place, in the supermarket, in the convenience store. There is no black tea. It's all green tea. But there's tons of coffee, and the coffee is awesome, I'm telling you. Of course, you know, there's Starbucks and like that, blah, 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 blah. And Japan imports most of its coffee beans, although in the regions of Okinawa and Nagasaki, they do produce their own coffee. As with many things in Japanese culture, they have master coffee roasters and brewers. And yeah, I mean, the coffee was it was amazing. Um, at the Shinkansen station, it's at Shin Fuji. When we popped over there to take some pictures, um, uh, there was a Shinkansen coffee machine. Shinkansen is the bullet train. There was a Shinkansen coffee machine, and they had all different Shinkansen blends, and everything from mocha latte all the way up to super strong, and it was a great cup of coffee from a machine. So I put in the money and selected what I wanted, and it took 90 seconds. They ground it fresh. They ground it fresh. They brewed it. It was super hot water, and oh my goodness, it was so good. But yeah, like I said, the coffee, even the coffee in the rooms, um, was really good. Actually, the in the Karaksa Hotel, there was no coffee in the rooms, but there was 24-hour coffee downstairs. And the other thing is, there's usually no microwaves in the rooms. There's fridges and usually a safe, um, but no microwaves. At Hotel Karaksa, if we wanted to reheat, we didn't need to, but if we wanted to, there was a microwave in the lobby. And at Hotel Asocia in Shizuoka, you had to go down to the fifth floor for a microwave. And there's vending machines everywhere for everything, that you could ever want. Everything from Coca-Cola and other types of drinks to all sorts of little knickknacks and like the stuff you used to get as a kid. You put in a dime or a quarter or whatever, you turn it, and you get the little bubble thing that has something in it or whatever. And they also have lots of claw machines, which, like claw machines everywhere in the world. Um, you lose your money usually. You see. But anyways, it was fun, and unfortunately, by the time we finished, it's a balance between, you don't want to bring back a whole bunch of yen, and at the same time, I brought back a few coins and stuff, but we got other souvenirs and so on and so forth. So, anyways, yeah. So there's that. And yeah, and the cuteness is at a level, stratospheric level in Japan. Everything from Tom and Jerry, and of course Pokemon, but all sorts of stuffy toys and cutie things and all stuff like that. So yeah, really popular with the girls, and I surrendered, and yeah, I mean, it's whatever. Um, all right, so yeah, coffee and tea. And for the hotels that we stayed in, no outside visitors were permitted to go up to the rooms. There was there, in the hotel Karaksa. We were only there for one night, but they had a nice little spot, and I'll give more details on that. Um, there were also super deluxe bidets in both of the rooms, in each of the rooms. Um, at at Karaksa, yeah, there was not only the bidet function, but there was a dryer function, and there was a button that said massage. I don't know what or how it massages. I wasn't brave enough to try, but it was there. So anyway, so yeah, that was a nice little luxury, along with heated toilet seats. Heated toilet seats. There you go. Which is nice, especially when traveling in Asia, because anyone who's traveled in certain countries in Asia before, um, there are no toilet seats. And the joke is, which isn't really very funny, but the joke is, you know, you've been in Asia too long when it's your own footprints on the toilet ring. Yeah. So I'll leave that to your imagination how that works. So, anyways, yeah. So, but yeah, the Japanese, they're amazingly clean people. There were some unfortunate individuals, um, but not a lot. And they didn't beg. Um, that's a no-no. Um, but you know, we approached and you know offered a bit of money, and they took it. But they didn't come up and ask you. We had one lady, old lady, and I don't know if she was a beggar, but she just came up to us in the station and started talking to us, and you know, and we're walking along, and she's and so, anyways, I you know, it's in my pocket, took out 500 yen, and offered it to her, and she took it, but she just kept going, just scurrying along beside us, and so you know we're bowing and bowing, and you know trying to tell her, you know, we got to go, and blah blah blah. So but anyways, she was sweet. Um, so yeah, there was that. You know, and I'm not naive. You know, I'm sure that there are a lot of poor people and people in very unfortunate circumstances in Japan. But my impression was that they, one way or another, those people get looked after. And as a matter of fact, while we were there, and the crime rate is very low, especially violent crime. And while we were there, there was some crazy person just went into McDonald's and stabbed two young students, um, and a young girl died, and there was a young man who was quite seriously injured. The man was obviously mentally ill, and but the entire nation was shocked, absolutely shocked. Um, so yeah. Anyways, yeah. So they arrested the person. They had security cameras, and local people had identified him. He was a local person, and he confessed, and so they're going to deal with him however they deal with people like that. Okay, the hotels. Um, as I said, we were only the one night at the Karaksa Hotel in Tokyo. It was only about, like I said, 200 meters from the station. It was easy to get to. And oh yeah, and there was another time when we were looking for something, and it was getting to be dusk, and I think, yeah, we were looking for a restaurant that we wanted to go to, and there weren't a lot of people around, surprisingly. Um, yeah, but there were four kind of rough-looking guys standing outside one of the convenience stores, and they were vaping and smoking, and and my wife is always, I'm a guy, so I never want to ask for directions, and my wife is always like, well, let's ask him. So anyway, so we asked them, and again, they didn't speak English very well, but we got the point across. And again, they went out, and they didn't take us all the way, but they took us to the corner and pointed, and or one of the fellas did. And anyways, yeah, so there you go. So yeah, back to the hotel in Tokyo. Uh, for the most part, hotel rooms are fairly small. Now, the Karaksa Hotel, close to the station, and you might characterize it as a traveler's hotel. It was very nice. We were very impressed. And there was free breakfast. Had tuna and egg salad, various different types of bread, um, green salad. They eat salad all the time. Any breakfast, lunch, dinner, whenever. Yeah, they love it, which is fine with me because I love it too, especially when you're traveling. Keeps you regular. Um, And so yeah, and there was a nice area to sit and have breakfast, and yeah. And our room was mostly bed. It was a king size bed, and but yeah, it was very nice. The bed was very comfortable. Linens, everything was perfect. Um, and one interesting feature was it's a separate toilet area and a sink and wash up area. So so there was the toilet area or the lavatory, if you want to call it that, um, and which was the lavatory, and of course the super deluxe bidet. Um, and then there was beside there, with a sliding door, there was a sink, and then beyond the sink was the shower stall. There was no tub, no bathtub, but neither of us takes baths anyways. We shower, so that wasn't an issue. And water pressure was great. Hot water was great. Um, And going back to respecting the culture and respecting the country as well, both water and power, electrical power, are at a premium in Japan. Um, we've all heard about what happened at the Fukushima nuclear plant. There are other nuclear plants, but they're trying to move away from that. And I was quite surprised that they don't make more use of geothermal. And I asked about that, and there are a couple of geothermal plants, but um, from what I understand is the most well, it's an environmental thing. Um, the areas where geothermal is most accessible are also environmentally sensitive. Um, However, they are starting to re-examine that, and they're undertaking huge projects for wind and solar. Um, and you know, I would wish that Canada would do something about sending them some nice, clean, sustainable natural gas. Well, maybe not sustainable in some senses, but certainly we've got lots, not just Canada, but other places too. Um, so yeah, when you're visiting there, be mindful of that, and try not to use excessive amounts of water. And at Hotel Associa in Shizuoka, there was actually a card slot right beside the door, and to turn on the lights once you enter the room, you put your room card in, and that turns on the lights. Excuse me. And then when you go out, of course, you're going to need your room card. So you pull out your room card and the lights turn off. There you go. Keeps you from forgetting your room card and keeps you from forgetting to turn off the lights. So yeah, that was I thought that was really cool. And both hotels also had Japanese style rooms that were available. So yeah, so even though it was just one night, we enjoyed our stay at Karaksa Hotel, and we would definitely stay there again. Not the kind of place I'd really want to stay at for a whole week, but and as far as budget wise was concerned, Karaksa was about $170 a night Canadian. For a king size bed, and like I said, a lovely room. No view, no window, whatever. Well, there was a window, it looked out on an alley, so what? You're only there for a night or two, who cares? And like I say, mostly a traveler's hotel, people who would be in Tokyo, take the train into Tokyo to do some business and then turn around and go back wherever they go. At Hotel Associa, it was a big room. It was, it was what you'd find in Canada or the United States at the Hilton or whatever. It was a Japan Rail hotel. Um, People in Canada would remember CP hotels, most of which were sold off to Fairmont. Everything from the Royal York to Chateau Frontenac, big old traditional hotels. And Sorry about that. My wife just arrived back from doing some shopping. I'll edit that out. Okay, so yeah, no complaints about the hotels. And for the Hotel Associa, that came in at under $200 a night as well. So very reasonable as far as that's concerned. It was a five-star hotel. They had like 5 high-end restaurants. The teppanyaki was $350 for a set menu. We didn't go there. Not because I'm cheap, just because that's an awful lot of money. Very much catering to higher end businessmen. But yeah, wonderful hotel. And of course, I'm going to do an actual video of all this stuff and later. This is just kind of a wrap up and a teaser. As far as the trains are concerned, they're extremely efficient, very clean, as everything else is, and don't expect your train to be late. On time to the second. To the second, on time. Excuse me. We took the Shinkansen, the bullet train, most places from Tokyo to Shizuoka, and back up to Shinfuji for pictures of Mount Fuji and so on and so forth. There are three types of bullet train. There's the Nozomi, Nozomi, and it's the fastest and reaches speeds of up to 300 kilometers per hour. Most of those are express trains, between Osaka and Tokyo. But the system runs all the way up to Hokkaido, Sapporo, and all the way down to the far southern end as well. The next fastest is the Hikari. That's Hikari, and they reach speeds of up to 230 kilometers per hour. And they're, I guess you would call them like a limited express kind of train, where they only stop at certain stops. And then there's the Kodama, Kodama, and again, it reaches speeds of up to 230 kilometers an hour, but it stops at pretty much every station on the way. So it might not get up to be that fast. And then there's the ordinary, what they call the ordinary trains. On the Shinkansen, they also have what's called the green car, which is fully reserved, and they have food service just like on an airplane and so on and so forth. And it's recommended. All of the trains have reserved and non-reserved cars. So if you do happen to miss your train, you can still get on the next train, but you have to get on a non-reserved car. And don't try to cheat, okay? Yeah, not cool. We took the Kodama down from Tokyo because I thought it would be nice to kind of stop in all the places and kind of see. And then we took the Hikari back up. To and from on the Hikari, it was about an hour. On the Kodama from Tokyo down to Shizuoka was about an hour and 20 minutes. An hour and a half, just depends. Very safe system as well. We got the Japan Rail Pass, or the JR Pass, which was unlimited travel on all JR trains. You have to pay extra for the green car or the Nozomi, but otherwise you can use the ordinary train, also any Japan Rail buses, and also get you some bonuses and discounts at other JR properties and so on and so forth. I'm already up to 45 minutes here, so I'm just going to quickly go through. Shizuoka is a city of about 700,000 people, so it's not a super huge city, but it's busy and bustling and very efficient transit service, and so that's great. And also they're in close proximity to our hotel and the station. was Shizuoka Hobby Square, and excuse me, um, and it was like an exhibition area, and excuse me, of many different manufacturers, Aoshima, um, uh, Tamiya, Gundam Bandai, all of the big manufacturers had displays, and of course you could buy stuff there, as well as some other artisan stuff. So if you're down that way, check out Shizuoka Hobby Square. It's well worth the visit. I did pick up a kit there, teaser, which I will be reviewing when we get back to Canada. Right now it's safely packed away for travel. And we also visited the Holy of Holies, the Tamiya head office, museum, archive, and of course the shop. Excuse me. So I'm going to wrap it up just with a little bit about the Japanese economy. They have to import a lot of stuff. Obviously, they export a lot of stuff, especially in the high-tech industries. But this makes the cost of living for regular folks high, especially cost of power and water. Yen to Canadian dollar was about 108, so which made it easy to convert. Like 100 yen is $1, more or less. And it's currently about 140 to the US dollar and almost 200 to the British pound. Excuse me, they have quite high debt, aging population, and they've kept interest rates low. They actually had negative interest rates for quite a long time, and the Bank of Japan has done its best to boost interest rates by buying their own bonds, basically. Excuse me, and they've had mixed results with that. So they've got economic and demographic challenges as well. But overall, I mean, as far as food goes, obviously there's high-end restaurants. There's also, we had it's at the omelet place, which I'll detail further in a different video. Got the omelet, got a little shrimp salad with broccoli, green salad. They called it a Danish, but it was like a round croissant, a little cap. And rigatoni mac and cheese for about $13 Canadian. Probably would have cost you $13 for the salad in Canada. But anyways, so yeah, that was absolutely, that was awesome. Also, the convenience stores like Lawson, 7-Eleven, and Family Stop, they have lots of stuff. Everything from full spaghetti dinners to traditional Japanese noodles and ramen and so on and so forth. So, and they were very, very reasonable. I got a big bowl from Lawson of spaghetti. I put it up on my Facebook. It was $5, 550 yen, and in Canada you probably pay at least $10 for something like that. And it was good. Tasted really good. The spaghetti pasta was excellent. The sauce was, yeah. I mean, we're not fancy. We like to go out for nice dinners, but we don't have to go and spend a lot of money on every meal. And when you're on the go, so anyways. It's easy to spend a lot of money there, but it's also, if you're careful and you look around. And the sandwiches. The sandwiches are awesome. Everything from ham and cucumber, the egg salad, and the tuna salad. Oh my goodness. I never had tuna salad that tasted so good. I'm going to have to dig up the recipe somewhere. It was so good. The only thing is they cut the crust off all the sandwiches. I like the crust. Not everybody does, but there you go. Okay, so I'm going to leave the airline for a separate rant, which I will attach to this video. But I hope everybody's enjoyed it and found it fun and informative. As I said, we had a really good time while we were in Japan. The people couldn't have been nicer. We saw some really great sights from everything from Mount Fuji to, just the sights and sounds of the cities. And yeah, it was great. So I wouldn't hesitate. Anybody who's thinking about maybe going there, don't hesitate. There's tours you can take that'll, or you can, do your own thing. And the train stations have everything you could ever want, especially in the larger cities like Tokyo and Shizuoka, and there's lots of things close by. So if you like to walk and you don't mind walking, there's tons of stuff right in the vicinity of the stations, along with some really great hotels. All right, so that's it for now. Thanks for everyone who's joining me, and stay tuned. I gotta go eat my lunch, and then I'll be back to talk about the horrific airline experience. Thanks again, and thanks to all my subscribers. Thanks to all my buddies and everybody who stops by to watch. Hope you find it interesting and helpful, and we'll be seeing you soon. Bye now.